Hey guys, Sean C. Phillips here with my brand new DVD Blu-ray Tuesday Shout today. Taking to go out, see what things come out today, see what things are on sale. I know one of the big releases today, was Alien Covenant. There's going to be a number of different, retail exclusive editions of that one. So definitely going to check those ones out today for sure. Also at the end of this video, I have some new DVD and Blu-ray reviews for some movies I received to review and talk about for you guys. So definitely stay tuned for those at the end of this video. But anyway though guys, let's get going and see what we can find today. But before I go into Target, I wanted to say one thing too. This may be the last time you see this car. This car now has finally hit the point where it's pretty much fallen apart. I've had this car since 2006. It's a 2006 model, and I'm able to keep it running really well. But it's just about at 150,000 miles. Now the window, yesterday dropped out, so now I had to tape the window up. And it's in order to fix this car, it's only probably worth $1,500. This car's value. It's going to cost more money to fix this thing than the thing is actually worth. And luckily enough, I've been saving, some money, so I have some money I can put down a down payment for the new car. But man, it's everything on here is falling apart. The seat now is totally all screwed up, and like I said, the window totally fell out. Now I have to tape it up really bad. So like I said though, this is probably going to be the last time you've seen this car. This car has been in videos since 2006, so years and years and years. You've always seen this car. But probably next Tuesday or the following Tuesday, the car that I'm going to be in will be a totally different one. I'll definitely show that and everything as well, what the new one looks like. Into Target we go. In Target now, they have these funny things, which where they put the big deals. This big thing that looks like a basket that you carry around. Kind of weird thing they have now that they just started putting in here, I noticed. But in here today, some of the stuff that came out today was, How to Be a Latin Lover, which I talked about this last week. I actually thought this was a really fun movie. The star of this was from the movie Instructions Not Included, but I thought this was actually pretty fun. The other one that came out today was The Wall, this Hitchcock one, A Case for Christ. This one released today, some kind of a religious film. I don't know too much about this one, but like I said, the main big release today though was Alien Covenant, and their edition here is in this kind of book. It's like a digibook thing here. It has 36 pages of photos and sketches from the film, so that's a pretty cool exclusive one, and that one is $19.99 for that edition. And it's the same price though, I believe, for the regular edition of the film as well. And some of the other things that came out today, I know a lot of people would ask me about this one, this Descendants 2. I never saw the first one, but I heard a lot of people say though this was kind of a fun series of films. Like I said, I've never saw the first one, so I don't really know too much about what that's about. And this one I reviewed recently as well, Treasure Hounds. And you know me, I always love these kind of dog films. This is actually one of the more fun dog movies in a really long time, about these kids trying to find this treasure that the grandfather had, try and make sure they could save their house and stuff. I don't know, I kind of like this one. Into Big Lots we go. And in here, the one thing I'm going to try and find is, and someone sent me a picture that they found the complete series of, Freaks and Geeks. It was only that one season, but the complete series of that on Blu-ray in here for only $3. And a couple other people were telling me about it as well. I have a feeling, though, it's probably not going to be, in here anymore if they did get it. But, I'm keeping my fingers crossed and see if they have it, because that price, $3, is amazing, because online it's $40 is the lowest. Yeah, it doesn't look like they have it in here. I know they've started getting some of these Disney ones in here as well. These, previously viewed ones in here of Disney stuff for $10. They have definitely changed this out a little bit and gotten some new stuff, mainly the Disney movies, and Star Wars The Force Awakens for $10. Like I said, these are the used ones, but still pretty good prices for those ones. But $3 though, if I did find that would be totally amazing. But I had a feeling though that these probably wouldn't still be in here, even if they did. But there's another one, this is a new one I haven't seen them have in the past, 127 Hours. This is one of those movies you really wouldn't watch too many times, but still a really good movie. But yeah, it doesn't look like they have that thing in here. But if you guys have found it though, let me know. To me it seems like a crazy price how it could be so cheap for that whole series like that, because everything else in here, like a series of a DVD is, some of these things are $3, but some of them like Dallas is $14, and that's just a regular DVD. So to me though, that's a totally insane, amazing price to find it for that cheap. Into the Valley Thrift Store we go.
thumbs.
And there's definitely a bunch of new stuff in here. There's like, it's all hoarded up in here, like boxes and boxes of things out here. So I'll have to look through here though and see what's in here. But like, definitely is a bunch of new stuff. I haven't been in here in a couple weeks. So we'll see if I can find anything different. But it's all, stuff is like everywhere. They have the Dreamers in here. And they have the NC-17 ones. So that's kind of a obscure one to see in here. But like I said, we'll look through all this and see if there's anything in here interesting today. This is kind of cool to see in here. It's all screwed up though, like the discs are all scratched up and missing, a lot of them. You see they're really messed up, but this is something you don't really come across, the whole series of Shelley Duvall's Fairy Tale Theaters. Like this is like, as a kid, like this is one of those things, I watched these shorts so many times as a kid, like absolutely love these. But it definitely is a cool thing to see in here, but they're really screwed up. I've been looking through here, there's some different stuff in here, but nothing that amazing in here today. But definitely are some new different stuff though. Into the quality resale store we go. So we'll take a look and see what's new in here. They have all these like wig heads and stuff in here. But like in here, all the DVDs are $2.99 or 4 for $10. I saw this really weird thing here, which was like a demo disc from 2001 from Fox that they put out. It was sold at Best Buy. It was like a thing showing off special features when like DVDs were newer, before people really knew what they were. So it's like showing like what a commentary track is and deleted and extended scenes. And that's really weird. Like I do not remember at all when this came out. I remember like, you know, players when they were, you know, DVD players and stuff came with demo things of certain things, but I never saw something like this. And I don't know if it's like, I guess just like a couple scenes and stuff from a commentary track or something, but definitely a very weird one I've never seen before. But I found a couple out of print things here in the past, nothing like absolutely amazing, but have to kind of just look around in here and see if there's anything different. I always look for like the you know, Anchor Bay ones, like I always said, because those are always like some of the ones that can definitely be valuable. You have to always check them, look them up. But right away, this one is one I have to look up. I don't know anything about this. It's some weird Anchor Bay thing. I don't know when this thing is from, 1977, but definitely gonna have to look up this one. But like I kind of like just look on here for like anything kind of uncommon. And like I've always said too, there's certain things I'm always looking for, like Mikey and just sort of weird stuff that I kind of know in the back of my mind to try and find. They always do have a bunch of weird bootlegs in here. These ones are like weird ones that don't even have the cases. They're just like the paper. But there definitely is a lot of bootlegs in this place. With the Pacifier, and there's a Star Wars Episode 3 bootleg, Constantine. I don't know, it's always funny to come across so many of these bootlegs and that they're actually just selling them in here. But like I said, I'm going to look through here, see if there's anything in here different today, and also definitely going to look this one up. Yeah, but I was looking this thing up and it was only worth $2. So that's the thing. Some of these Anchor Bay things can be really, really rare. Other ones can be very common. Like I'd never seen this one before. It's like some kind of thing that's like scenes from like there's some kind of series called Carry On. It's like just like clips and stuff like that, like best moments. But I've never heard this series in my entire life though. Into FYE we go. That's cool in here. They have a whole standee here of Scream Factory, and they have like a bunch of like kind of like obscure different ones in here. Like this one, like I think it was Contamination 7, which I always kind of, I think this was like technically like a sequel, like a weird unrelated sequel to like Troll 2, or it had like some of the same, like the one of the same characters, or like the same creature in here. But definitely some like obscure ones, like the Screaming Skull and the Terror Demented. So that's pretty cool. They have a whole stand thing out here though of these kind of different ones. Like yeah, I don't know a lot about a lot of these ones, especially this Demented one. I kind of looks kind of interesting. That's just cool though to see the whole thing out there for these. And I always come in here and, you know, look at the used stuff, because every so often people can bring in some different used stuff. You never really know. I have found out of print stuff in here, and sometimes, you know, you can find some really rare stuff cheap, like they slip through the cracks in here and stuff, but not very often, but it happens sometimes. I don't feel like though they get as much stuff as they have in the past used, but still you never really know though, so you always have to check. I haven't been in here though in probably like a month or two. And over here though, like all these things are like 75% off. They have a whole bunch of these weird like thin paper case things. I remember the dollar store used to have a bunch of these as well. There are some very weird movies. Some of them are like public domain kind of stuff. But sometimes in here though, somehow they have some really decent stuff that's really cheap. You never know though, like what's in here, but sometimes there's also some really weird things, like what this thing is. But you always gotta check. Yeah, so I looked around there for a while though, nothing really too different though, but it really is cool though to see all of those Shout Factory things in there, especially some of the more obscure titles, like some of the different ones and stuff, so that's definitely cool. So if you guys are trying to find some of the Scream Factory stuff in person, if you do have any FYEs left, definitely is the place though to check, since they have that section thing in the front. I'm not sure if they're all going to do that now, but definitely pretty cool though to see that. Into Walmart we go. But in here though, like the main thing that came out today, you know, was Alien Covenant, and they have like these retail exclusive ones in here. They come with t-shirts, like the regular Blu-ray one is, you know, $19.96, and the 4K is $24.96. So that's pretty cool, and it's pretty much actually exactly the same price as the 4K or the Blu-ray one without the t-shirt. So it's pretty cool though. It's like a fan type shirt in here, like a fan contest, a fan art contest thing. And like other than this, like I mentioned, Target, there's a Case for Christ came out, and then they have this one, which I talked about at the end of the video, Blacklist, the complete 4th season. And they also have this edition here for $5 more, which has like the spin-off season. I think it was only a 1 season they did of this, of the Blacklist Redemption. So if you guys like that one though, that's not a bad price though to get that whole other season for $5 more. This one released today as well, Everything, which I really like this one. It was kind of like a female Bubble Boy one. And then this Bruce Willis one came out today, which I talked about a week or so ago, Once Upon a Time in Venice. This was actually a pretty fun movie though. I actually like this one. It's got like some mixed reviews, but I don't know, I kind of like this one. I always like him doing like comedy stuff, but they're definitely doing some like restocking stuff in here. Like all these things here are in boxes, and I think they're like moving around some things and stuff in here. And gonna change out this section, it looks like, with some new stuff, and I think this is all still stuff they have to put out, like that they're changing around and stuff. And the only movie I saw this past weekend was Annabelle Creation, which was actually a prequel to the prequel. It was actually a prequel to Annabelle, which was a prequel to The Conjuring. And you know, the last one, you know, the last Annabelle, I didn't absolutely love that movie. I don't feel like too many people really loved it. It was okay. There was a couple things about it that were kind of cool, but like, I don't know, I did not love it that much. So like when I knew they were doing this one, and I didn't know at first it was actually a prequel to the first Annabelle movie, I wasn't super excited, but then some of the trailers seemed kind of cool. Then I was noticing it was getting good reviews, and to be totally 100% honest, it was actually, you know, a million times better than the last Annabelle movie. I actually liked it better than The Conjuring 2, because I felt like The Conjuring 1 was an extremely creepy movie. Conjuring 2 had some creepy aspects to it. I didn't love it as much as I liked the first one, but this movie I feel like was definitely, I kind of liked it more than the second Conjuring. I felt like this movie actually had some extremely creepy aspects. It was all set in this weird house where things had happened in the past. Like I said, it was the origin to Annabelle, and kind of like how the doll was made and everything, and these kids are staying there, and they're kind of using it as like a makeshift orphanage for these kids because they don't have any more room for them, and like all these creepy things are happening. There was only one scare though in this one that I felt like was kind of cheesy, and if you guys know what I'm talking about, let me know below, because like there was this one thing I was like, wow, that was kind of cheesy. That was the only thing that stood out. There was like one thing that just stood out as not as cool as the other stuff, but the entire vibe of the movie I thought was really creepy. I thought it just had a very creepy aspect and really did work. And definitely though, like I said, like if you guys didn't like the last Annabelle, give this one a chance, because like I said, it was so much better. The director who did Lights Out directed this one, which I really thought Lights Out was actually very creepy as well. Coming up though next week is I think like Lucky Logan, which looks kind of interesting, and then The Bodyguard, or The Hitman's Bodyguard, which is one of those ones you know isn't going to be amazing, but I do still want to see that. But let me know below though what you guys thought of Annabelle Creation, if you guys saw that, and or anything else you guys saw this past weekend as well. Into Best Buy we go. And in here though, Prometheus came out today on 4K as well. That's $29.99. But they have in here these Steelbook editions of Alien Covenant. They have like the one, it's the Blu-ray one for $21.99, and then the 4K edition one for $26.99. Like I said, I really did like this movie, but it's one of those things I know at some point I'm gonna get, but I'm not like in a huge rush. And they have this one. I don't know if this is a new edition of this. They've released this. Oh yeah, this is a new one because this one includes Alien Covenant as well as Prometheus. So this is a pretty cool set of all 6 of these movies in here for, you know, $49.99 for this one. Other than that, though, they have that Once Upon a Time in Venice in here as well, and then there's, you know, the Hickok one, and this one, you know, is kind of interesting because this was one of those ones that was only released on Blu-ray with a 4K. So I think it's one of the first times they've done that, and one of the few times they've had no standalone Blu-ray release, only the 4K and the Blu-ray together. So that's all for this DVD Blu-ray Tuesday shopping video today, and like they didn't get in there either, those, you know, only at Best Buy ones yet. So it seems like that, you know, very few locations have put those out. Like, you know, in San Diego, there's like nowhere that's gotten those ones in yet. I ended up ordering them online though. The only one that's like delayed now for some reason is the basketball one. So like hopefully that comes at some point. It's like there's like no shipping date at all for that. So if it doesn't come, I'll have to try and cancel it, and maybe they'll get it in Best Buy's in stock, you know, in person at some point down the line. But otherwise, if I can't get it, I know it's going to be on Amazon though in like October or something. But anyway though, guys, now stay tuned for a couple new DVD and Blu-ray reviews. And the first one I got from Arrow Video is one I had never seen before called Ronin. This stars, you know, Robert De Niro, Jean Reno, you know, from Leon the Professional. I always really love him. He's always really cool and everything. And this is like, kind of has comparisons to the movie Heat. John Frankenheimer directed this one. He, you know, he did some movies that like kind of had mixed opinions that I always kind of liked, like Reindeer Games. I remember when that first came out, I always kind of really liked that movie. I haven't seen that movie in a long, long time. But one movie that he did that is one of those like kind of real hated movies, and then some people like it, but it's kind of like almost like a best worst movie to some people. I always loved it because I grew up watching it as a kid, and that was the, you know, the On to Dr. Moreau, the remake one with, you know, Marlon Brando in it. I don't know, for some reason I love that movie. I've watched that so many times. But this movie kind of has comparisons to Heat, and it's kind of got that feel to it a little bit, but it's kind of like an international thing about a group of these criminals that are brought together by this one woman, and they have a task of trying to go and steal this briefcase. So this one guy, this group of these people have this briefcase, and the one guy has it kind of like chained to his arm, and they're kind of trying to formulate the plan of how they're going to steal this briefcase and get it from them. Of course, they're not told at all what's in the briefcase. They're not told why the woman wants this briefcase or anything. They're really kind of like left in the dark about a lot of things, but all they know is that they have to try and get this, and it's kind of them all trying to work together and format the plan and exactly how they're going to pull this whole thing off of getting this. And of course it's going to be all this problems, and there's all kind of like issues and double crossings and all these kind of problems going on. And it's like set in, you know, in Paris, and then a lot of other areas around there. Has a really, really cool setting, and also some of like really top-notch like chase scenes. Like there's some crazy stuff with these cars like rolling all over everywhere, and these crazy scenes of them driving down these little tiny roads and stuff. Like I think that one movie like Collision recently might have filmed in some of this same area, but there's a lot of like other movies that were shot in this area. I don't think I've seen anything really that recently in all these kind of spots that they were doing this, but some really crazy scenes. Like the chase stuff in here is some of the best I've really ever seen of car chase kind of stuff going on in this. But this one has on here though a brand new 4K transfer in here, as well as it has, you know, a booklet in here with some pictures and stuff like that from the film and some facts and stuff like that. But this is a really cool one. It also has a bunch of, you know, archival features that were in the past release in here, like some interviews in here, you know, an interview with the composer talking about the movie, has an alternate ending, a theatrical trailer, has a commentary track on here where John Frankenheimer, that was, you know, done before he passed away, because he passed away, I think it was like 2002, or it was a little bit after Reindeer Games, I believe, or a couple of years after. It also has on here, though, a brand new video interview with the director of photography. But definitely give this one a chance, guys. Let me know below, too, with what you guys thought of this movie. The next one I want to let you guys know about, these ones are available from Arrow Video. And this is the follow-up films. They're not kind of in the same vibe of the Battles Without Honor trilogy, but these were kind of like similar type of crime-type films. And this was Battles Without Honor and Humanity. I believe, yeah, because I think that was the first like series of films, and then these were the follow-up films, but they didn't connect to them, but they had the same type of feel. But in here, though, this is the limited edition collection of these ones in here, and it has a booklet with, you know, like a bunch of different, you know, interviews about the film and facts and all that kind of stuff in here. So it's always cool that Arrow includes these in their releases and stuff like that. But the movies, though, that are included in this set here are 3 different ones. Last Days of the Boss. And then here's a look inside here. It has in here The Boss's Head. Like I said, these are crazy, like, Asian crime films. And then the other one is New Battles Without Honor and Humanity. So like I said, it's 3 different films here. It's definitely a cool release, but like I said, just want to let you guys know this one is available here in this limited edition set with all of them together. And the other one I will let you guys know from Arrow as well is available. And this is from the Arrow Academy line. This one is The Love of a Woman. And this one here has, you know, the 1080p transfer on this one, as well as the French audio on this one, as well as a feature-length documentary on the filmmaker from 1969. So a pretty cool thing here if you guys are interested in this film. And just a little look inside. There's a booklet about the movie, some pictures and stuff like that. And here's the disc art, and it has in here the DVD and the Blu-ray for this one. Now the next one here from Sony, and this is a show I had seen like a couple of these on TV, and I know they did like a spin-off series. There's like a limited edition version of this as well that comes with, I think it was like a short-lived season they did of a show called like Blacklist Redemption, I believe is what it was called. And there's that version of this available as well, and that's only on a limited edition set. But this is the complete 4th season of the Blacklist. This is a show with James Spader, and this is the thing, he, you know, at first I remember kind of confusing this with the show that he did with William Shatner, but he did this show like right before this, and then he did this show, and it's kind of him working. He was a guy who was like a crime guy, and like was one of the most wanted people, like the, you know, like the list like by the government of like the 10 most wanted like criminals, and he ended up actually working, you know, kind of turning himself in, and only wanted to talk to the one woman that worked at the agency, and it's kind of him, you know, kind of, instead of going to jail, he's helping them out on trying to solve cases and using his inside knowledge and kind of connections that he has to kind of infiltrate and kind of bring down and find the, you know, the top criminals that they're trying to find. And like, he was the criminal, and now he's trying to help them. So it's a pretty interesting show. The new season of this show starts up October 4th, but on here though, it has a gag reel, deleted scenes, it has some featurette, and it has commentary tracks on 3 episodes on this one. So like I said, just want to let you guys know this one is available. This next one here from Wellgo USA, and this is a pretty interesting movie. It's a movie called Bluebeard, and a really cool cover on this one. This is a Korean film. It's basically about this doctor, and it's about a doctor too that I've never really seen them do a whole movie about. It's kind of who does like colonoscopies, and kind of like about what happens when people are, you know, from the sedation, like waking up, and he always has kind of weird things that people are saying and kind of odd stuff, and they're like just like really weird stuff. But the one day though, he, like the guy who is like his building manager where he, you know, lives, he like works down there in the kind of like the meat kind of market, and like it's like the one guy's the grandfather, and then they're his like kids and like nephews and stuff like that. They all kind of work together there, but he gives him, you know, the colonoscopy. When he's coming, you know, back to, he starts saying really weird stuff about like cutting the bones and hiding the body parts here and spreading them apart like that, and taking the head, and the head is hidden in the refrigerator. And like this doctor hears all this stuff, and he's like gets really weirded out about it, and like kind of, because like right around at this same time, there's weird stuff going on around the city about like that, you know, he hears about a body was found without the head, and then he's thinking like, is this family like into like killing people? Is there some really weird stuff going on, you know, in his building? And it's like this, like a serial killer, this old man, and is his family all connected to this one? And it kind of starts this whole thing. And it was really well made movie. Really thought this was a pretty interesting like crime type film, and like really good music on this one as well. The next ones here are some TV series from Warner Brothers, and Warner Brothers sent over free copies of these ones to check out. And I saw the first season of this show. This is the Blu-ray of DC's Legends of Tomorrow. This is a pretty interesting show. I think this is like one of my favorite of these kind of like superhero type shows. It's basically though about these superheroes that are all kind of brought together, and they go back in time and kind of try and stop bad things from happening. Like, and they go. It's kind of like almost like a Bill and Ted kind of thing, and I always love these type of time travel things because they go back in time and then like try and stop like certain things from happening, or like a bad thing that happened like in a certain era and stuff like that, and they go there and try and stop the person and stop like a shooting and stop, kind of like change history and that sort of type thing. And it's like kind of them all going there. I don't know, I just found this to be kind of a fun show. Like I said, I saw the first season of this one, liked it as well. It has on here though a bunch of features on here. It has 2 featurettes. It has a Comic-Con 2006 panel here, has unaired scenes, a gag reel, as well as an epic DC hero crossover event with Arrow, The Flash, and Supergirl, because a lot of these shows too all kind of connect to one another. Another one that Warner Bros. Sent over for free as well, and this is one I heard a lot of people talking about. There's a burn-on-demand Blu-ray release of this as well if you guys are interested, but this one's the one you're seeing in stores everywhere, and this is the show called Riverdale. This is the complete first season, and this is kind of the Archie character and the Archie comics kind of in live action, but kind of done in a very weird way and like kind of out there, different kind of take. Kind of it's set now with like modern teenagers and stuff, and the Archie is kind of like slept with his teacher in this, and it's kind of because the Archie comics like now they had like newer ones that kind of went a little more out there and a little bit more adult, and I think these are more kind of based on those, and you even see like the Josie and the Pussycats characters in this, and I thought this was kind of an interesting show. It has on here, though, a bunch of different featurettes on here, as well as the Comic-Con panel, unaired scenes, a gag reel on this one. But if you guys want to see, like, the Archie kind of done in, like, a crazy kind of out there way, definitely check this one out. Another one, and this is the second season. I like the first season of this one as well. I think this show aired on Fox, I believe, because I know this is one I saw a lot of these at the gym. And this is the, Warner Brothers sent over a free one of this one as well. And this is the show Lucifer. And this is the complete second season, and this is basically about the devil coming to Earth, and he's kind of working with the police, and because he's sort of like doing it almost for kicks, and he's kind of working with this one woman that he kind of likes. And he kind of just is tired of being like in hell, and that's essentially what it is. And he kind of is working with the police and kind of stopping bad people and stuff. It's an interesting kind of take on these kind of things. I kind of like it. I don't know. I like the actor too that plays the devil in here. He's kind of got like a weird kind of wit to him and stuff. And has on here though some featurettes on here, as well as the Comic-Con panel, gag reel, and unrailed scenes. I always think it's pretty cool that they include the Comic-Con panels on these ones. And the next one here, Warner Brothers sent over for free as well. And I talked about this one in my last video, but just want you guys know this one is available, and this is King Arthur the 4K edition, and this one definitely though in 4K though is a huge improvement. The big thing I always say with 4K is the HDR, which is the contrast levels, and the contrast levels and the brightness levels, and this movie is a very dark and gritty film, so definitely does benefit for 4K. But like I said, just want to let you guys know this one is available in 4K as well. The next one's here. This is pretty cool. It's from a company, 3 of these films here from a company called Garage House Pictures, and they're taking movies that are pretty much all fully lost films. Most of these movies have never come to theaters, never come to DVD, never come to video, nothing, never released anywhere. So they're totally like lost films that are, and I think that's pretty cool that they're releasing these things that have never had any releases, have never been seen. It's almost like one day, if basically really like a known lost film is like The Day the Clown Cried. It's almost like if that movie finally was able to come out. These are sort of like what these films are, but like A Day the Clown Cried, people kind of know where it is and who has the print. These things were like totally lost, and one of them, like, they never even thought they were going to find it, and luckily enough they were able to finally find the one print in existence of this movie. But these are 3 different films here. The first one is called The Satanist, and this one now has actually came to theaters. That was all. It had like a small theatrical release. This is a kind of like It's all done, it's basically about this couple, though, moving in to this house, and then next door they have this neighbor who's kind of like a witch, and she's trying to seduce the husband, and it's kind of almost like the movie that would like inspire The Love Witch. If you guys have seen The Love Witch recently, it's that kind of thing about these really weird like satanic encounters and these really weird seduction type scenes and stuff in this one. This has on here that, you know, it's a 4K transfer, this one, from the only known 35mm print here. It has a commentary track on here, as well as some trailers for some past ones. It also has on here a bonus film as well called Sisters in Leather. But these other ones here had never been released anywhere. This one, though, called The Intruder, this movie was like thought to be totally lost. And they were talking about how this movie was made in the commentary for only like $20,000, which is kind of insane that they made this for so cheap, because it has in here Mickey Rooney, you know, Yvonne DeCarlo, you know, from the Munsters, and you know, Chris Robinson. The one guy, I think Chris Robinson was from no, no, Ted Cassidy was from the Addams Family, the show, playing Lurch. So a lot of, like, you know, big name, like, 70s actors in this, 60s and 70s actors in this. So I don't know how they made this thing for so cheap, but it's a really early lost slasher film, which is kind of interesting about like this family and these friends that were kind of coming together because the one guy was like thought to be dead, so they kind of come to his mansion on this small island, and Mickey Rooney, though, is the one who's like driving him there, and most of his scenes are like him like driving the boat. He's like, they say it's really weird stuff of him driving this boat. Like, he doesn't look like he really knows what he's doing when he's driving it, but he's like driving this boat to the island, and there's like some other stuff that happens with him as well. But they're basically, though, when they get there, though, people start getting killed off, and it sort of has like a Clue whodunit sort of vibe to this one. It's not the world's greatest movie or anything, but it's just a fun thing too, that the fact too that it was like a totally lost movie that had never been released in any shape or form. And this kind of stuff does happen, though, with some movies, like the, you know, you don't know if you're ever going to see them. But it has on here, though, a 4K transfer. All the transfers on these are amazing, though, really great. You know, because like I said, this is from the only print, you know, that they know. It has a commentary track on here with the director, and then an archive or interview as well with the director. And the director, though, is kind of talking about how a lot of these people in here were like some of his like friends that worked for his like boat company and stuff. It's a pretty interesting thing. I actually thought it was a pretty good commentary about him kind of talking about how this movie came to be. And the last one here, and this one was a really silly one called The Dismembered, and this was kind of reminding me, and this one too is another one, like I said, never been released on anything, was kind of reminding me like of a feel of like the Three Stooges a little bit. And also if they took the Haunted Mansion and kind of, you know, from Disney and turned it into like a really low budget peculiar movie. This sort of had that kind of feel to this, because it's about these criminals that were like, you know, had robbed, was it like there was, you know, it was a jewelry store, and they ended up going and hiding out in this old like abandoned house. And of course, though, this house is haunted, and it's just kind of like the ghosts don't look like ghosts, they're just kind of like regular people who are in there, like, you know, fancy types and stuff in there, and it's right near a graveyard. So they're all kind of like talking to each other, like the ghosts, about how they're going to get rid of these people that are in the house and stuff, and they're having like their meetings and how they're going to get rid of them. It's a really quirky, weird movie. It has on here, like I said, a 4K transfer on this one. It has a commentary track on here. It has a short film from the director as well. But really interesting releases. Like I said, really interested in seeing some of the stuff this company does in the future, because I always love these kind of lost movies like this. The next one here from Mill Creek, and this is a movie that I've always really liked. I haven't watched this in a long time. And this is from Mill Creek, like I said, and I love that it has this slipcover on here with like, and it's and here's the cover underneath. But it's the Bobcat Goldthwait film that he did called Shakes the Clown. This was done like right around the time too that he was kind of not doing the crazy voices much. He was doing that, you know, like crazy. I always kind of liked that character, but this is kind of when he sort of stopped doing that, not as much. This is basically, though, him playing this like drunken clown who's kind of like a screw up, and he's not really having a lot of luck, and he's about to lose his job working with the clown company because he's always drunk and having all these problems. And his friends, though, Adam Sandler plays a clown in this, and he's in a whole lot of the movie. This is like, I think, one of his earliest films. There's all these cameos and stuff in here. The actor who does the voice of SpongeBob is in here kind of playing the rival clown. And there's, I don't know, I really like this one. Julie Brown is in this one as well. Robin Williams has a fun cameo in here. as like this mime teacher, and you could tell his stuff was totally improvised. Like, it was really funny. And the thing that's pretty cool too is, and they don't do this a lot on Mill Creek releases. Mill Creek got a commentary track on here, a brand new commentary track with Bobcat Goldthwait, Julie Brown, and Tom Kenny, you know, the voice of SpongeBob, and starred in this as the villain clown. But I really love this movie, and I thought it was so cool that they got this commentary on here. I always like the stuff Bobcat, you know, has directed as well. Like, I love the movie World's Greatest Dad. That's probably one of like my favorite Robin Williams movies that not many people talk about too much. But this is just a really fun movie about this drunken clown going to kids' birthday parties and having all these kind of problems in his life, and everything is kind of falling apart, and he's kind of trying to, you know, keep his job and not drink, and it's all these kind of things going on. But really, really fun movie. The next one here, I had to use this cover. The main release title from this is called Snapshot, but then the cover has like these little topless women on it, so I can't show it. But this is not an adult film or anything. But this is probably, to be totally honest, my favorite movies I've watched in like a couple months. I like these kind of movies. And this is the alternate title for it, though, called The Day After Halloween. But Snapshot, though, is the title that it's been released under on Blu-ray. You know, Vinegar Syndrome, you know, released this. They do such an amazing job, and I've said that with their transfers, you know, every time I talk about them, but they really are the top notch when it comes to transfers. They do such an amazing job. They never look bad. There's never any like weirdness to them. Everything is done perfect. But it has like a brand new, you know, 2K transfer on here. But the movie's basically, though, at this girl who kind of gets roped into being this model. She meets this one girl who kind of says, you should model and you can make $1,000 a day by doing this spread. And the guy who's the photographer in this is the one from Mad Max, and he also was in the newest Mad Max as the main villain guy wearing that crazy like breathing mask and stuff. That guy is so cool, though, but he's in this one as the photographer. It's basically her, and she's like dealing with all these weird stuff because, like, you know, she lived with her mom, but her mom is like really giving her crap about her life and everything she's doing, because she like left her job as a working in a hair salon to do this modeling, and she kind of got thrown out by her mom. And it's kind of like all this stuff of her in this modeling business, sort of, and then the weird people that she comes across. And also she has this really peculiar boyfriend who is like really old, and it's kind of like this guy is like 40 something, and this girl is supposed to be like, I think she was supposed to be dating him when she was like 16. It's very strange. This really old guy, and he rides this ice cream truck, and he's really peculiar. He's kind of lurking around and watching her all the time. And there's like all these weird people she comes across. I feel like this movie kind of inspired Neon Demon a little bit. I mean, yeah, I feel like it did kind of like inspire. I don't know. It just had that sort of vibe. This movie was from 1979, but I love this movie. Like, this isn't going to be for everybody, but everything about this movie was cool to me. This was just such a great movie. Definitely like look up the trailer for this one, guys, and it has a bunch of features on here, some behind the scenes stuff, alternate feature length Australian cut of the movie, commentary tracks on here, but really cool one. This one here is from Vinegar Syndrome as well. This is not an adult film. It's kind of like, it's sort of R-rated, and this director's movies, Seduction Cinema took some of his movies and did like remakes of them. It's a Joe Sarno movie, but I think he did, I'm trying to remember some of the other ones that he did, but I know I believe they took some of his movies, or some movies like his, and like, because these were all done sort of like these weird, and it's kind of, it's really hard to explain, though, but it's this one's called Red Roses of Passion. And it's a black and white movie. It's basically about this girl who kind of gets roped into this cult, like these girls, like these women cult, and she's kind of going, like, meeting with them and like doing weird stuff, and she like lives with her aunt and her mother. No, it's her aunt and like her roommate, and both of them are giving her all kinds of crap, and the aunt's always giving her all these problems, and, you know, about her life and her decisions and what she's doing. But she like goes to these kind of like cult meetings about these women. They all like rubbing roses on each other and like doing weird satanic black art magic and stuff, and really, really weird stuff. Like I said, I believe these movies, like a lot of these ones, they were redone, and Seduction Cinema kind of made a line of a couple of them. This is years back, like 2000 something. But this has, you know, the 2K transfer in here, interviews in here as well, but a pretty interesting one here. And the next one here from MVD, and this is, you know, Through Something Weird and AGF. You know, I always love the Something Weird titles. They always like really, they really live up to the name, and they always have like a certain type of really weird vibe to them, but really cool. They're releasing stuff now, you know, on Blu-ray, so definitely hope they release a lot of the stuff from their catalog in the past because they have a lot of really great titles. This is one called The Zodiac Killer, and this is like really interesting too because this was done, you know, why the Zodiac Killer was like around, and right after all these like the killings and stuff. So it was like when you're looking at this, it's like because no one knows who the Zodiac Killer was. They've never figured it out. So it's kind of like he could have been in this movie. You know, that's what's so strange about it. You know, he could have been like acting in this movie or in the background or anything because you never know. But this was supposed to be like a real serious thing, and the director really wanted to try and like he had these things too in theaters to try and like actually catch the Zodiac Killer. But it was supposed to be a serious film though about Zodiac Killer, but like the acting and stuff in here was like so ridiculous, like it's sort of Troll 2 acting, some of it, and like the line deliveries and the stuff going on, and like these characters in it. It's just such a weird, over the top movie, but it wasn't supposed to be. That's how like some of the best movies are, when they're like not intended to come across like that and then come across like that. But it has on here, it's a brand new 4K scan of the movie, and it actually looks really, really good. And it has on here a bonus movie, it's what is called, you know, Son of Sam, and that's a 2K scan of that one as well. But this is basically though, you know, it's kind of like a bunch of different characters. Like one guy's like the mailman, this really disgruntled mailman. This one other guy who's like, it kind of works like in a truck, and he's like driving around, and like it's like he's a bunch of like couple of different random characters, and it's kind of like these weird stuff they go through and they do, and they're kind of like hinting at maybe this is the killer, maybe this is the killer, and that's essentially what it is. And the killer has this weird wardrobe too that he's like wearing, like on the cover when he's going around and killing people. But the deaths and stuff here, there are some pretty like crazy deaths and stuff. Like it definitely is kind of shocking with some of the stuff too. Like I said too, since this was like right after this stuff was actually happening, so it's really weird that they kind of made this at this time. But a really interesting one here. Like I said, definitely look forward to seeing some of the future stuff from Something Weird and the company, you know, AGFFA. And the next one here from MPI is a movie called, it's a documentary called Kiki. This is essentially about a group of like gays and lesbians, you know, LGBTQ, like teenagers and younger adults, and it's kind of like them getting together, these kind of events, and it's like all about like kind of like a safe space of these kids to kind of get together, kind of hang out, and kind of like they do sort of like almost like runway type shows and types of events, and like hang out and stuff like that. And it's sort of a documentary that kind of focuses on the people there, and it kind of focuses on like certain people there, and like kind of about their lives, and kind of like things that kind of have happened to them, and that kind of stuff to it. It's a pretty interesting documentary here, but it has on here though a music video and a trailer for this one, but a pretty well done documentary here. And like I said, about this group that kind of, and it's all set, you know, in New York as well. And the next one, this is from a company called Altered Innocence, and this is an extremely strange movie. It was strange good though, but very, very strange, and some kind of gross stuff to it as well too, a little bit. And it's a movie called Baby Bump. And this is basically about this kid, and he has like, it's a movie, it's a Polish film, and a lot of it's in English though, and this kid's kind of hearing this weird guy talk, this character kind of talking in his ear and telling him do this, do that, and the kid does weird stuff, like he's at school and the kids have to do like drug tests because they're worried about drugs in the school, so he like pees and you know, sells his pee to the kids, you know, so they can pass the drug test, and he's like making money with this, and he really hates his ears because he has these big ears, and it's all this weird stuff, and these weird thoughts that he has, and these weird type of things, encounters that happen to him, and it's just a very, 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 very weird movie, and some very, very weird scenes, and the stuff that these other kids are saying. And it's not a movie too that's, I think, supposed to make a whole ton of sense in a lot of it. It's a very, very visual movie. It definitely has the feel, like it even says on here, like of something like David Lynch and a Harmony Korine movie, like, you know, with Gummo. It's got that type of vibe to this a little bit. But I thought it was actually, and like I said, it's not, I don't know, I did really like it, but it is, like I said, there is some kind of gross stuff to this as well, a little bit. But it has on here a short film as well as a trailer for this movie. But like I said, definitely give this one a chance, but it is very peculiar. But anyway though, guys, that's all for the review portion of this video. Thanks again for watching and subscribing, and I'll see you guys later.